In this episode, learn all about the Digital Imaging Center and the Speculator that was part of the proposed 1996 concept for the Space Pavilion at Epcot. Hello everyone, I'm George Taylor from Imaginerding. Subscribe to my channel to get updated whenever I release new videos about Disney history, Disney books, and theme parks. As we saw in part 1, Disney was looking for some new concepts to replace Horizons at Epcot. One of them from 1996 was a very big redo of the Horizons building, which would have kept the building and most of the original ride layout and added a few extra sections. Let's check it out. Arrival at the Digital Imaging Center. We disembark from our ride vehicle and find ourselves in an advanced digital information receiving center for JPL and NASA. The center has a state-of-the-art look with data coming in from the farthest reaches of the known universe. Digital images are being assembled before our eyes, forming fascinating views of distant space. These images will always be the newest, most up-to-date photographs possible, incorporated into the show as quickly as they are made available to us by JPL and NASA. We hear the spoken impressions of others, and perhaps our own voices join in as we speculate about what is coming next. What visions can the mind create from these state-of-the-art revelations? Ahead lies a series of mysterious capsules that will transport us from this earthbound NASA center up to the orbiting space station X-1, where we'll board the Speculator, our second adventure. These capsules will be a bridge between the tools of NASA and the visions of the human mind. They will be real elevators using dramatic special effects to convince us that we're being transported upward to the space station. Enter the space station. Stepping out of the capsule, we find that we have risen high above the Earth and are orbiting aboard a giant ship that's part space station, part observatory, and part laboratory. Since this is a space station of speculation and imagination, its look is of a fantastical design style and motif. From this point on, we will be taking a journey into new realms of speculation. Our platforms high above us, silhouetted against the stars in front of a gridded glass ceiling, we see figures busily working at computer models and simulations. The figures are manipulating images the likes of which we've never seen before. They are using tools that our ancestors couldn't even imagine. Walking through the space station, we are directed into a multi-level departure gate that will prepare us for our journey aboard the Speculator. As we wait to be called aboard the Speculator, we'll experience a video pre-show. During this brief presentation, we will be shown the safety information needed to ensure a successful journey. We see that once we go inside, we will be directed down one of the aisles. Instead of sitting in theater seats, we will be standing up during our journeys, facing an individual vertical platform. We will be told to stand against the platform, adjust it up or down to a comfortable height, then secure a seatbelt around our waists. Handholds are available on the platform in case we feel the need to hang on. We begin to wonder just why these precautions are necessary. The vertical platforms, we are told, are actually sensors that will read the thoughts that now fill our minds. Thoughts inspired by the ride we just completed. These thoughts will be gathered, stored, and recombined to create the speculations on which our upcoming Speculator journey will be based. Of course, the visions seen during our Speculator journey will have actually been inspired by a group of the modern world's greatest and most imaginative thinkers. Scientists like Stephen Hawking and Carl Sagan, illusionists like David Copperfield, humorists like Gary Larson and Douglas Adams, storytellers like George Lucas, as well as philosophers, mathematicians, writers, musicians, artists, and even children who in their innocence see things in a way no one else can. As the pre-show continues, we find out that all speculation begins with a premise, and it turns out that a premise is the fuel that makes the Speculator run. The more exciting the premise, the further the Speculator will travel. Like a telescope, the Speculator can be aimed anywhere in space. Like a rocket, it can take us wherever we choose to go. And like a space probe, it can tell us what we're seeing when we get there. But unlike these existing tools, it can expand our concept of the universe by giving us the vision of a being freed from the limits of size, space, and time. Just as the electron microscope can magnify the infinitely small so that we can comprehend its hidden universe, so too can the speculator reduce the cosmos so that we may see larger and catch a glimpse of what it might all be. The speculator can also take us downward, like a microscope, to a size where we can see smaller, so that the molecule structures, which are normally viewed as solid to mortals of our size, become as vast and infinite as outer space. But most importantly, it also commands the most powerful tool of all, our very first tool, the human mind, our imaginations. And now, we're told that the speculator is in position, ready for us to climb on board. Let's fuel it up and take a trip. Aboard the Speculator. Sequence 1. Things may not be what they seem. The computer data screen tells us that the last passenger is in place and we are ready to begin our journey. The data screen fades to black, and for a moment we find ourselves in total darkness. A low rumbling sound begins to build in intensity as the speculator is powered up, reaching its peak as a crescendo of music fills the room and a spectacular image engulfs the screen, completely filling our field of view. It's an image that appears to be a galaxy with tens of thousands of points of light suspended in the blackness. It is an image that is at once as familiar as it was to the ancients, and yet strangely new and mysterious, for this is not the universe we would expect to see. It's not the universe of stars and planets. This is the universe of subatomic particles, pieces of matter so small that their tiny size is as hard to comprehend as is the vastness of outer space. In the quickness of a minute, we will journey from the subatomic realm to the farthest reaches of the known universe. This part of the voyage will serve as an introduction to the idea of speculation. Its aim is to throw the cards up in the air and show that there are countless different ways of seeing things, that there are worlds existing all around us that we don't even know about, and that there are issues of scale that dramatically affect how we comprehend our place in the universe. Things are not always what they seem. Accompanied by the voice of our narrator, we begin to pull back from the subatomic realm. We are traveling like a rocket flying through outer space, but pulling back in size. As our vision becomes larger, our atomic particles begin to form something amazing. Out of the randomness comes art. Out of the randomness comes an orderly composition. There is unity to this universe. What are the limits of the universe? Where does it begin? Does it end? We see a surface beginning to cover the organism and realize that we are seeing a layer of human skin. And crawling on top of that skin, we see huge monsters, just like the Hollywood space creatures we had once imagined inhabiting our own galaxy. But these monsters are real. They are actually the tiny organisms that are right now living on our own skin, inside our eyelids, existing in our own scale, as oblivious to us as we are to them. The eyelid blinks as we continue to pull back and we see a human eye. At our present tiny scale, the eye appears to be gigantic. But we quickly see that it belongs to a young boy who now turns his head to look through a microscope. We pull back more and see a whole classroom of children, one of whom is a young girl looking through a telescope. The lens of the telescope glints as it is turned towards a window. We pass through the window and see a schoolyard of children who quickly vanish as their schoolyard shrinks into the countryside, which in turn becomes a tiny spot on the landscape of the planet Earth. As our scale of vision is now so vast that these children have become as tiny to us as the creatures living on their eyelids are to them, the children and the creatures each exist in their own universe, equally oblivious to each other. As we pull back further, we see the Earth itself retreat into the distance. We pass by the moon, and soon the asteroids and the nearby planets vanish in the distance as well, becoming nothing more than anonymous points of light. Now the sense of order, human scale, and relationships give way to the random, void galactic universe we know as outer space. We realize we're leaving our own solar system far behind as we streak past Voyager, Earth's most distant space probe, which is dutifully continuing its endless mission to explore the universe within the limits of its mortal concept and vision. Our Milky Way galaxy disappears into the distance as the speculator slows and comes to a gentle rest. Floating before us once again, we see a universe looking much like the subatomic universe we saw at the beginning of our journey. But this time, it turns out to be our existing concept of the universe of outer space. We've come as far as our knowledge can take us. Now our destination lies beyond that which is known. Sequence 2. Ahead, full throttle. Up to this point, our Speculator journey has been primarily cinematic. But now, our Speculator will begin to actually move, and our experience will become much more akin to a ride, taking us on a thrilling point-of-view space journey through state-of-the-art computer-generated visuals. Against the black backdrop of space, we will see the images of our speculations resolve digitally, almost magically, from the millions of tiny pulsing data points into clearly defined simulations. During the digitizing process, on-screen computer updates will flash on and off to tell us what is happening. Once the digitized images have completely formed, we will experience the wonder of actually entering those perfected speculations. In the next 5 thrilling minutes, we'll soar towards distant galaxies, visit Earth's first giant space colony, encounter beings on other planets, and travel faster than the speed of light through a treacherous wormhole into a spectacular and thought-provoking finale. Our Speculator starts to move again, slowly revolving 180 degrees to face the opposite direction, away from where we came. A computer-generated grid enhances the feeling of motion as we turn, while at the same time indicating the location of planet Earth. From this scale, far too small to be seen, as we turn we see our home planet disappear off the screen, emphasizing that we truly are headed for places where no one has ever gone before. With a sudden exhilarating movement, the Speculator tips forward 25 degrees and we find ourselves strangely floating over the vastness of space, looking directly into the unknown that lies ahead. We feel ourselves pressed forward onto the vertical platform, suspended as much as 60 feet above the Speculator floor. Before we can even catch our breath, the Speculator surges ahead and soars dramatically toward the stars, diving and climbing, swooping left and right, speeding ever faster as the universe streaks past. These incredible sights fill our eyes, while a majestic musical score fills our ears. For a few moments, we simply enjoy the thrills of this incredible journey. Sequence 3. Cities among the stars. Against the backdrop of the stars, we see an image start to form in the distance. Pixels of digital data sparkle to life, then pull together to become strikingly beautiful speculation of Earth's first colony in space. Our Speculator zooms ever closer to the floating colony, then soars right through the digital wireframes and polygons of the materializing airlock into the colony's Speculator interior, which has by now become a completely resolved image. A space colony host riding aboard a futuristic rocket bike leads the way as we experience a first-hand guided tour that shows how people just like us, men, women, and children, might someday live and work in space. The primary mission of this colony is to continue the search for life on other planets. As we fly high above the vast colony, our host is joined by 2 more rocket bikes, and riding aboard them are his wife and kids. Our space host apologizes for cutting our tour short, explaining that he and his family are about to leave for a long-awaited vacation. As their space bikes begin to descend towards the surface, one of the kids turns around and yells, "We're going to Disney World!" We follow for a moment as the bikes disappear towards a magical-looking amusement park, the happiest place off Earth. Sequence 4. Are we alone? After the incredible tour through the colony, the digital image dissolves back into the blackness of the universe once again. Almost immediately, another image begins to appear in the distance ahead. As the image digitally resolves, we find ourselves sweeping across the surface of an alien planet, one of countless inhabited planets that we speculate exist in the universe, and the first of several that we will actually visit. Here we encounter amazing and sometimes very humorous speculations about life forms that might exist throughout the universe, an endless variety of beings in spectacularly exotic environments. Sequence 5. Faster than the speed of light. And now, as we leave those mysterious planets behind, our Speculator travels faster than ever, approaching the speed of light, the greatest speed possible, but not the greatest speed imaginable. After all, our Speculator is fueled by the power of our combined thoughts. What if we could travel faster than the speed of light? If we could somehow bend the universe, could we jump from one end to the other in an instant? And if we did, what would we see? Let's find out. The speculator instantly jumps to the opposite end of the universe and emerges trapped in the intense gravitational field of a black hole. We're pulled into the center of its darkness, flying out of control past all manner of matter that is being drawn in with us. We fear that the speculator and all of us will be crushed any moment now by the unimaginable forces of the black hole. But luckily for us, this black hole is just a digitally created speculation, and moments before we're destroyed, the black hole suddenly vanishes in a flash of scrambled computer data. We lurch to a stop, floating in space, return to an upright position. We are now ready to approach our greatest speculation. Sequence 6. Inside the Mind's Eye. What if we could pull back even further than this furthest point known, far enough to see the stars of outer space merge into something cohesive, a concept, an order, an image, just as we saw the particles of the subatomic realm merge into atoms, molecules, cells, and eventually us. What will we find in outer space if we could see beyond infinity and then look back? Fueled by this incredible premise, our speculator begins to move again, pulling back away from where we have just been. Since we are still standing in our vertical position, just as we were at the start of our speculator journey, this sequence will seem eerily similar to our journey from the subatomic realm. As we continue backwards, we see the stars beginning to come together. Much like the digital pixels that form the images of our earlier speculations, the stars themselves begin to resolve into an image. But this is not just another digital image being formed by the speculator. At first, it appears to be a huge nebula cloud. Then, is it our imagination, or could it be that we have started to resolve the speculations that are coming? The motion of our speculator slows as we ponder this astounding sight, then tilts forward to its steepest and most exhilarating angle. We rush forward towards what might be the dark patch in the nebula, or perhaps it's a very pupil of the eye. We fly directly towards the center, break through the surface, and surge into a storm of pulsing, flashing light. Thoughts race and spark from one node to another. We're in a brand new universe, one of boundless thought. Perhaps this universe is actually a combination of all of us and of our ancestors, the collective sum of our thoughts, experiences, history, and dreams. From all around us, voices fill our ears while thoughts fill our minds. Thoughts about what and where we came from, where we're going, what the universe is, what it all might mean. The voices speed past as stereophonically as a swirl of images recall the thoughts and speculations we've experienced on our two journeys. As we continue to race past these kinetic visions, our minds are opened up to new ways of speculating about our place in the continuum of space. Thought is vastly greater than any universe of outer space could ever be. For whatever is known, that which we can see and comprehend is always overwhelming by what the mind, through imagination, can speculate. The only thing larger than the universe is the human mind. In a blinding flash, our speculator stops and we return to an upright position. Along the course of our journey, we've experienced what the ancients thought about space, what our modern scientists think about space, and what people just like us speculate about space. Now in darkness, we are left with the most important question. What do you think? For that which you think becomes your world. As we disembark from the speculator, we once more pass by images of folks like us and hear their speculations about the universe and outer space. All of us have been inspired by our experience, and there is tremendous discussion. We have activated the most powerful of tools, the human mind. What do you think? For that which you think becomes your world. Wow, what an incredible journey. I can't even imagine what that attraction would have been like. It really seemed to take the best of a lot of the Magic Kingdom and Epcot attractions and synthesize them into one. But you could also see that the thoughts behind this pavilion led to things like Soarin and Flight of the Banshee over at Animal Kingdom. There was a lot of information that we just talked about or discussed in this proposal for the Space Pavilion, and I'm still wondering how it would have worked and how it would have felt to be aboard one of the speculators. So leave me a comment and tell me what you think about this proposed attraction. Would you have enjoyed it? Would you have liked it more than Mission Space? Leave me a comment and let me know. I would love to hear from you. I'm George Taylor from Imaginerding, and I hope to see you in the parks.